The first time she stepped out with the triplets, the entire town paused. 3 girls, identical, their skin smooth like river stone, their eyes wide and watching the world like they had lived before. They were dressed head to toe in red, blinding, bold red. Red wrappers, red beads, red shoes. Even their little headscarves were red. At first, people thought it was fashion. Maybe their mother just loved the color. Maybe it was for attention. But when days turned into weeks and then months, and still the children were only seen in red, people began to ask questions. Some whispered, some mocked, others were simply confused, and many were afraid. No one in the town of Awama had ever seen such a thing. No one dared to ask directly except one. Mama Ama, the town's cloth weaver, called out to the triplets' mother, Blessing, one hot Thursday morning at the stream. "Is it that red is now uniform in your house?" The mother of the triplets turned slowly. Her face was calm, but her eyes, they had depth. Not sadness, not anger, just something that made you hesitate. "I do what I must," she said simply, and walked away with her daughters trailing behind, silent as shadows. That day, the whispers spread wider. Blessing was not always like this. She had once been the most joyful bride in Obama. Married at 20, she was soft-spoken, respectful, and hopeful. Her husband, Obina, was a trader, humble, hard-working, and deeply in love with her. The first year of their marriage was filled with dreams. The second was filled with prayers. By the 3rd year, the silence in their compound became too loud to ignore. "Still no sign?" her mother-in-law asked one morning, pouring palm oil into her cooking pot. Blessing shook her head. "We're still trying, Mama." "Trying, trying," the older woman muttered, "the kind of trying that leads to gray hair. You better not let your silence destroy my son's future." Blessing didn't answer. She went to her room and cried into her wrapper. At family meetings, the whispers started. 3 years, not even a miscarriage. Obina is still young. Let him try someone else before it's too late. Obina defended her at first. "She is my wife. We are praying." But the words from his family began to cut his heart small. By the 5th year, Obina stopped singing in the morning. He didn't play with her hair anymore. He started sleeping early, facing the wall. Blessing watched him fade like smoke in the rain. She tried one last thing. She went to the city hospital. Blood test, scan. The doctor said nothing was wrong. She came back home and told Obina. He only nodded and said, "Okay." By the 6th year, the silence in the house had grown thick, unbearable. Her husband's family was no longer patient. Obina himself, once playful and loving, began to change. One evening, while she prepared yam porridge in the kitchen, his mother stormed in. "You have eaten all your eggs," the older woman snapped. "How can a woman be in a man's house for 6 years and nothing? Not even a miscarriage?" Blessing said nothing. She had said all she could in the past. Prayers, tests, hospitals, prophets, herbal teas, fasting. Still nothing. The next month, Obina came home with news. "My mother is bringing another woman." Blessing's knife paused in the air. The leaf dropped. "You will not be chased away," he added, "but you must accept her." Blessing didn't cry. She didn't shout. She didn't throw the pot. She turned slowly and looked at him. For the first time, she didn't see her husband. She saw a stranger wearing his face. She said nothing. The next week, the new wife came. Her name was Oyoma. Young, bright eyes, loud laugh. She walked like sugar that had never melted. She called Obina sweetheart in front of Blessing. She entered the kitchen without asking. She wore short wrappers and high perfume. 2 moons later, her belly began to rise. "Ah, see how fast she catches seed," people said. One auntie from the family came to visit. She looked at Blessing and said, "This is how God works. When one tree is dry, another brings fruit. Blessing still said nothing. That night she folded her wrapper, packed her clothes into one bag, removed the wedding picture from the wall, and placed it face down. She tied her hair and stepped out of the house. Obina sat in the parlor watching the news. "I'm leaving," she said. He didn't turn his head. "Okay." She walked out. The sky was gray. The air smelled like burnt dreams. "I will not stay where I am laughed at," she whispered. She reached the gate. She didn't look back. She walked the road to her father's house, the one with cracked walls and firewood smoke in the air. The place where her story began. And now, the place where the story would change. Because waiting inside that house was Mama Nena, her stepmother, the woman Blessing blamed for everything. That night, the house was quiet, but Blessing couldn't sleep. The walls creaked like they remembered secrets. In the morning, Mama Nena knocked on her door. "Wake up," she said. "We need to talk." Blessing came out, wrapper tied, face swollen from sleep and pain. Mama Nena didn't waste time. "Go and see a herbalist," she said. Blessing blinked. "What?" "I said go and see someone. Not doctor, not pastor. Someone who understands beyond body. There's more to this than the eyes can see." Blessing's face changed. "No," she said. "Why?" "You want to finish what you started?" Blessing hissed. "The same way you killed my mother and took her place in this house." "What are you talking about?" Blessing stepped closer. "You think I don't know? The way my mother died, the way you moved into her place like breeze." The old woman's eyes opened wide. "You think I killed your mother?" Blessing's lips tightened. "You never loved me. You only tolerated me. Now you want to send me to your charm man in the forest." Mama Nena stood. Her hands were shaking. "I didn't kill your mother," she said. "She died giving birth to you. I took care of you. I fed you. I clothed you," Blessing hissed. "You did it for my father, not for me." She turned, walked into the room, and slammed the door. "I only go to pastors," she shouted from inside. "Not your black magic, Mama." Nena stood there, her chest rising, her eyes wet, but she said nothing more. That night, Blessing sat on her bed, arms folded. Her eyes looked at the ceiling like it could explain her pain. The silence inside her was heavy. She didn't know that the journey to freedom had already started, but she was walking in the wrong direction. 1 year passed like dry harmattan wind, quiet, long, empty. Then one Sunday afternoon, Blessing met a man. His name was Chisona. He came from Enugu. Tall, soft voice, calm eyes. He was a contractor building the new church near the town square. He saw Blessing buying onions at the market. She dropped one and bent to pick it. Chisona picked it before her. Their eyes met. His smile was soft. "Are you from this town?" he asked. Blessing nodded. After that, they started seeing each other at the market, then by the church, then on the way to the stream. He never asked too much, never talked about her past, never looked at her belly. He just said, "I want to know your heart, not your history." After 6 moons, they got married. No noise, no crowd, just prayers, palm wine, and 2 families. Blessing moved in with him. His house was small but clean. The walls smelled like new paint. And for the first time in a long time, Blessing smiled from her chest. 3 months passed, then 4. Then one day, she woke up with a strange feeling. Her hands touched her belly. It was soft, but different. She went to the clinic. "You are pregnant," the nurse said. Blessing sat still. Her hands shook, her lips parted, tears dropped one by one. Not pain, not fear, but something sweet, something warm. She ran home and told Chisona. He carried her and spun her around like a child. Then he painted the spare room blue, bought a new mattress, even a baby cot. Each morning he would kneel and pray beside her belly. God protect our little one. Let this joy stay. Blessing bought small baby clothes, tiny socks, red blankets. At 6 months, her belly looked like a drum full of rain. At 7 months, one morning, the blood came. She screamed. Chizona rushed her to the hospital. Doctors ran. Nurses moved fast. But the baby was already gone. The sky outside turned black. Even the sun refused to shine that day. They brought her home in silence. Blessing lay on the earth behind the house, her wrapper stained, her hands holding her stomach. She didn't cry out loud, but her chest shook like thunder with no sound. Then she heard footsteps, soft, slow. Mama Nena came and sat beside her. She didn't touch her. She didn't say sorry. She just sat. Blessing didn't shout, didn't hiss, didn't turn away. She just stared at the sky. The old woman whispered, "Please, come with me." Blessing blinked, then nodded. Not because she believed, but because something inside her was tired of fighting. They traveled to Achi, a small forest community on the border of Oily. The herbalist's hut was deep inside the bush, surrounded by trees that didn't move with the wind. The man was old, but not frail. His eyes were clear, his hands steady. He listened to her story from beginning to end. He didn't interrupt. Then he stood up, reached for a leather pouch, and brought out 3 white cowrie necklaces. Blessing frowned. 3. He held them in his palm like eggs. "Your womb has been rejected by the world," he said. Blessing gasped, her eyes wide. Her hand touched her belly. "But not by spirits," he added. She looked at Mama Nena. The old woman said nothing. The man placed the necklaces in her hand. "Next time you carry life, say nothing. Not even to your husband." Blessing blinked. "Wear red," he said. "Red wrapper, red plate, red bedsheet, red candle." She stared at him. "When the babies come, dress them in red. Every day, no change. Put this on their necks. Never remove it. Even when they cry, even when they sleep, never remove it." Blessing looked down at the 3 cowries. "Babies," she whispered. "You mean child?" The man looked at her, his face calm. "I said what I said." The forest didn't move, not even a leaf. He turned his back. The meeting was over. Mama Nena stood up slowly. Blessing still sat, holding the cowries like hot stones. They walked back through the bush path. Still no sound. Even the birds stayed away. That night, Blessing placed the cowries under her pillow. Her eyes were wide open in the dark. She didn't pray. She didn't speak. She just waited. 2 moons passed. Then her moon stopped. Blessing stood in front of the small mirror, counting the days with her fingers. Her hand touched her belly, flat but not empty. She was pregnant again. She said nothing, not even to Chisona. She just smiled small when he asked, "You okay?" She nodded. "I'm fine." She waited. At 3 moons, her back started to ache. She walked slower, slept more. She still didn't speak. At 4 moons, she went to the clinic alone, sat on the bench, bit her lip, held her wrapper tight. The nurse rubbed jelly on her belly, moved the machine. Her eyes widened. "Madam," the nurse said, "you are carrying more than one." Blessing blinked. "Twins?" The nurse looked again. "No, triplets." Blessing didn't breathe for a moment. Then tears fell from her eyes, slow, warm, sweet like honey in the harmattan. She laughed and cried at the same time. The nurse was confused, but Blessing didn't care. She went home, didn't say a word to anyone. She remembered the herbalist's words. No talking, no noise, just red. She bought red wrapper, red nightgown. She changed her bed sheet red, her plate red, her candle red, her toothbrush red, even her sponge. Every night she prayed beside her bed, in red. Every morning she thanked the spirits with red powder on her palm. At 5 moons, Chisona started to notice. You don't eat what I cook anymore. She smiled. I'm just craving different things. He nodded. But why all this red? She kissed his cheek. Don't worry, it's helping me. At 6 moons, her belly looked like a calabash full of palm wine. At 7 moons, her water broke. The hospital was far, but the babies didn't wait. She gave birth on the bed at home in the night, with Mama Nena beside her and one young nurse from the next compound. The cries came one after the other. First one, then two, then three. 3 girls, same face, same small mouth, same big eyes, same cry like rain tapping zinc roof. The room filled with silence after the last cry. Blessing held all 3 at once, her arms shaking, her body weak, her eyes full of fire and water. She whispered their names. Favor, Emirachi, Nancy. She tied red beads on their wrists, wore red socks on their feet, placed the white cowrie on each of their necks. From that moment, they wore red every day, every night, like skin, like breath, like secret. The town didn't know yet, but something heavy had just entered the world, something bound by silence. Will be continued in part 2, so stay tuned. Please like and subscribe us. Thank you.